There it is. All right. Can you all hear me? Someone turn their phone off of mute. Give me some audible response here. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Hey.
All right. Perfect. You can all hear me. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Officer Rosemond. I'm half the recruitment here in Border Division. All right. My partner across the table from me is Officer Schultz. We're the recruiters. So if you just applied for our department a week, a month ago, 2 months ago, and you have not had a chance to participate in any of our virtual online program, applicant preparation program, or any of our in-person live training we're offering before the COVID situation took place, then nice to meet you all right? We're recruiters for the CHP. As recruiters, that's our title, what we call ourselves, what we are called, but we're actually more of training officers for you. We're here to give you direction, give you insight, give you actual tangible training, make you more prepared for the hiring process in regards to the testing and the academy eventually. We have a series of short-term and long-term goals to get you there, but it all takes you participating, tuning in, being present. So welcome to tonight's seminar. It's a coffee with a recruiter with, of course, our K-9 officers in the house here. Officer John Gray to my right.
How you doing?
Seasoned veteran officer here. To his left, Officer Garcia. He's just tuning in with us today. He's a K2 with us.
No, I'm actually a K-9
K-9 now. All right.
Recent.
Got ranked up here, so
yeah.
we got some new blood in the house. All right, so we're ready to rock. Okay. We would love for you guys to participate with us and ask questions. If you don't have any questions, please keep your phones on mute. Okay. If you take your phone off of mute, anytime your dog barks in the background or your ice machine goes off in the refrigerator, the phone and the video is going to go toward your camera, and people will miss out on what's going on in front of them and the main show, which is me. All right, it's actually us, all right? In the meantime, please keep your phone on mute unless you have a question. And if you do have a question, all right, we would love you free to participate and ask us anything at any point, as long as you're not interrupting us. Try and wait for a break, or write the question down if we give you a chance to kind of elaborate and go into it. The first half of the seminar tonight is going to be more of us discussing the position, what goes into it, the nuances of the training, and the background of the officers here to kind of give you insight about their life and things like that. We're going to leave some time at the end for those questions, but if you do have questions, you're going to answer in a certain specific way.
Right. So if you want to ask a question or you have anything you want to say, the format that we like is sir, applicant, and then state your last name. And then I have a question, or state whatever you will state. That's the proper format that we prefer in training. And you'll see that is going to carry on through your academy training. You'll address instructors that way. You'll address the academy staff that way. And then you'll see that'll carry over if you are so fortunate as to graduate and become an officer. That'll carry over as you are an officer when you go to hail dispatch, to let them know who you are and where you are and what you need.
All right. So as I said earlier, all right, I'm just going to give you a quick intro. I'm Officer Rosemont. For those of you that have not had a chance to meet me yet, once we kind of get through the COVID situation, we're going to re-engage you on a one-on-one basis in a group training environment at our division office and other locations in our actual training program. Our training program is actually called the Applicant Preparation Program. It's designed specifically for you, all right, by us, to give you insight about the hiring process and preparation for your whole career. Our division APP program is extremely successful, all right? Our last graduating class of cadets graduated with a 100% graduation rate, and the class before them an 80+% graduation rate. And the two classes in the academy before they had to suspend their training for the COVID mitigation was a full, untouched. They were all still present, still there, no one failed out. So what we're doing works, all right, as long as you are committed to being better every day and being with us and investing yourself in our training program, all right? I've been an officer for our department for just under 11 years. Best decision I've made was going into the CHP. No lie, I came from a whole different career before this in higher education, all right? And this has been a great move for me and my life and my family. I started my career in El Cajon, working out there for about 7 years in the field before coming into the recruitment unit about 4 years ago, all right? So terrific job, terrific career. I have nothing but positive things to say about CHP, and I got lots of good stories for you later on, but we'll jump in that in a few. But to my right, we'll jump into Officer John Gray here and let him talk about how great he is. He was
Hi. Hi, I'm John Gray. I've been an officer for about 12 years now. I didn't come from a background of education. You know, I have a little bit of college, graduated high school, of course. I started late in life. I turned 35 actually in the academy. So currently I have 12 years on. So, you know, they called me old man when I was in the academy, you know. They still call me old man.
Still call him old man.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, yeah, it was kind of a rough start. You know, I already had a career going. I was in real estate, and with real estate, the market crashed right around 08, 09, or actually 07, 08. So I started the process. It took me about a year and a half to get on, which I think by today's standards is pretty fast. It was probably the best decision I ever made. You know, I've done just about anything and everything you could possibly think of, whether it be sales, real estate. I was installing music systems for offices, and the highway patrol is actually my wife. She was online. She's like, "Oh, you should become a cop." So I started looking at all the different agencies in San Diego, and yeah, yes, dear. Happy wife, happy life. Write that down. So she looked directly at the highway patrol first. And I was like, oh, highway patrol, you're going to go anywhere in the state. And that wasn't too enticing to me. You know, I own a home and I just wanted to stay in San Diego. So I applied highway patrol to make sure that my wife was happy about it, you know. And so, you know, she's the one that she did her research. She looked at the pay, she looked at benefits, and that was the one that she saw fit for the family. So nonetheless, I'm here, went to the Highway Patrol Academy. Everything I honestly thought went by quick and smooth. My first duty station was East Los Angeles. All things happen for a reason. I think that East Los Angeles was definitely hard on the family, but it was a perfect fit for me, because that's where it kind of planted that seed into the career that I'm in now. Being a cop, you have to learn a lot, right? You kind of are expected to almost be a lawyer, and you're expected to be a psychologist, and you're expected to be all these different things. And that's where I learned everything was in Los Angeles. So fast forward, I spent about 15 months in East Los Angeles, learned leaps and bounds, came to San Diego, different beast. I thought I knew everything. I was like, oh, I went to East LA. I learned everything. Wrong. Come to San Diego and it's a different beast. It's just demographics, everything is just different. So and we'll jump into a situation and what really kind of turned me over to want to become a K-9, but that's pretty much the gist of my career up to becoming one. So
very good.
Officer
Garcia.
Yeah, well, my name's Officer Eddie Garcia. I haven't had as much time as these guys on. I actually have only 3.5 years on. I actually don't have much college. I went to 2 years of college and I said, screw this. I'm not going to college anymore because I didn't like it. And I signed up. I enlisted in the Marine Corps. Did 5 years in the Marine Corps. I was a K-9 handler for the Marine Corps. I was an explosive K-9 handler. I have deployments under my belt. So after being in Afghanistan towards the last couple months, me and my buddies were saying, hey, what are we going to do when we get out? And that's when we actually Googled on the computer in Afghanistan, CHP. And I said, yeah, that's it. So basically, I didn't have any other option I wanted to do. The CHP was my only job I was looking for. So I put in my application when I got back home. And about 6 months before I got out, I did all my background stuff. In a week, my recruiter was really helpful with that. So my process for getting in wasn't that long because I was on the enlisted side. So when I got out, 2015, about 6 months later into 2016, I went to the CHP Academy, and I broke in at Westminster, North Orange County. That was my first office, and 2 years after that, I was a K-2 for our K-9 program here in Border Division. And I just graduated K-9 school at the end of January with an explosive dog as well. So it's kind of like my tall tale that's been going on with my life since then. So, yeah.
Nice.
Very good. I'm Officer Schultz. I'm the other half of the Border Division Recruitment Unit, working with Officer Rosemont. And I started my career in 2006. I was living in Northern California at the time and working construction, doing a lot of contracting work. My dad was a contractor, and so I had a big construction background, and was doing that type of work and was staying super busy, doing well. And every time winter would hit, we'd have those days where there's a lot of rain and whatnot, and you'd be sitting inside, drinking coffee, looking outside, wondering why you're not making any money. So I had an uncle who was on the local PD, and I started doing some ride-alongs and started getting interested in law enforcement, and started researching different agencies. And it was very clear to me right off the bat that CHP was not only the most professional, in my opinion, but treated their people the best and had the best overall package. So I applied with only the CHP, no other agencies, and I was super young. I got through the process, took about a year and a half. I turned 23 years old in the academy, and graduated December 2006, and my first assignment was Central Los Angeles. So that was a big eye-opener for me. I grew up a country kid in Wyoming. In my hometown's about 8,000 people. So I went from that to NorCal, the city of Redding, which is about 100,000, to Los Angeles. It was trial by fire for me, and I loved every minute of it working there. Spent my rookie year there and learned a ton. Like Officer Gray was saying, just they're fully immersed in it, and it's a whole different world. I established some incredible relationships and friendships with my colleagues and my peers, relationships that I still have to this day. And it's been absolutely amazing. So after 2 years in LA, I transferred to San Diego, and yeah, it's a beast down here. It's something special, but you kind of get used to the grind, and it just kind of becomes a party. It's kind of a sick thing. So I was here for about 6 years, started a family. We had a baby, and I wanted to move my family up to Northern California and kind of settle down a bit, be able to get some property. And we moved back up to Redding, and I worked a small office, really small town. It was a great experience, very rural. Worked very close with the SO, and we assisted them all the time. They assisted us. Had a great relationship with them, and it was just a completely different side of the job that I'd heard about, but thought it was mostly fiction. But it was all true. Anyway, so I worked Trinity River area for a year and a half, then transferred into Redding. Was there for a short time, and my family decided to head back down south. So like we said earlier, happy wife, happy life, right? My wife's family was from down here. So we transferred back down here about 3 years ago. And earlier this year, I came over to the recruitment unit. So it's been an incredible career. Yeah, one of the best decisions I've made by far. And it's afforded me the lifestyle that I love, and plenty of time off, and great benefits for the family. So I would highly recommend you stick to the course. Keep your eye on the prize.
Absolutely. We're very fortunate to have Officer Schultz in our program here. If you kind of were listening in there, he talked about different offices he worked at. Like, you should be aware we're the state police, so you can be assigned anywhere in California. As your career progresses after your first year, you can begin to transfer throughout the state based off your seniority, anywhere you decide to go. All right. So your life is kind of is at your direction. You can go to Trinity River. up in Northern California. And then grab a map if you don't know where that's at. And then you can always come right back to San Diego, right back home, or right back to Orange County, wherever your home base is at, El Centro, Calexico, those areas out there as well. All right. You can kind of bounce around the state, or if you find somewhere that you really like to be, you can stay over there for 25, 30 years, your whole career. And no one's going to make you leave or make you decide to try and promote. But you have that option also. If you want more information about different career options, how the CHP handles jurisdiction, where we actually work at, things like that, this Saturday morning, we're actually going to have another hiring orientation for brand new applicants to talk about all that stuff, the pay, the salary, the work-life balance, the schedules, work schedules, things like that. We'll be covering all that 9 a.m. this Saturday morning. You should receive an email. That will be the day and the time. If you have not got anything yet, all right, email us, reply to the email you received for tonight's invitation, and we'll give you everything you need to know, okay? But to get back to the good stuff here, all right, the stars of the show. Isn't that what you told me to call you earlier?
That's right. Mr. Star.
Yeah, all right. Shining star, young star, not old star.
No star.
You both talked about, the type of dog you train with, explosive detection dog you actually assign right now, Officer Garcia.
Yep.
What type of dogs do you guys have in your contingent? Do you have the option to get trained with? I understand there's explosive detection dog, there's narcotic detection type of training that you'll receive in the academy with your dog. What options do you guys have?
So it's all based on the needs of the department, but the dogs that we currently use right now are Belgian Malinois and German Shepherds. Throughout the state, we have about 56 canines throughout the state. So if you think how many officers, we're probably 7,000? 7,200
Yep.
officers, and we're one of or two of 56 handlers throughout the state. So those needs are all based upon each division or each area. So for Border Division, we typically like to have 2 to 3 explosive detection canines. And then the remainder will be narcotic detection canines. And each one of our dogs are all dual purpose. And dual purpose meaning that they do handler protection, apprehension, or criminal apprehension, as well as an odor such as narcotics or explosives.
Yeah. Very good.
And then you both have different experience kind of getting into the unit. Can you both talk about how you earn your way into the unit? Some things if you ever think about trying to get into something like this, what do you recommend doing?
All right, so I got kind of a little story because I didn't always want to be a K-9 handler.
Here comes the long story.
Yeah. Let me take a deep breath.
Yeah.
How much time you got? We need restroom breaks before this happens.
So I didn't always want to be a K-9 handler. I wanted to be a cop. I like the road. I like interacting with people. And honestly, I didn't know that the Highway Patrol had canines. I didn't. Because really, there's 56 of us throughout the state. That's really spread thin.
Yeah.
So when I pulled over a guy for talking on the cell phone, and just things started kicking in. He was really nervous. He didn't have a license, so I pulled him out. And then that's when I started seeing things. He had a scale, he had PO sheets, and I called and asked for a K-9. I was like, oh, all right. I was a new officer. K-9s come out, and I felt like they walked a little taller. I felt that they just were super confident in what they were doing. And at that point, I was like, I fell in love. I want to be a K-9 handler. So here I am. That was about year 2 on the job. And I became a handler about 6.5, 7 years on. And I've been a handler for a little over 5. Around 5.
Nice.
I'm trying to do the math right there.
So I don't have a lot of time on the job like these guys do, but I joined the Highway Patrol just because of my previous experience to become a K-9 handler. So I did my research on the CHP and their K-9 program, and everything that I could find, I loved about it. So since day one, that was my goal. After getting off break-in, pretty much a couple months after getting off break-in, I immediately saw a K-9 handler drive by me. I'm like, oh, hold on, wait, stop. So I called him up on the radio and I said, hey, do you mind meeting me off the freeway? And he's like, yeah. He actually thought I was a sergeant pulling him over. So I just said, hey, this is who I am. This is my background. I'd like to go training with you guys if you guys have some training days coming up soon. So since then, this was, like I said, a couple months after I got a break-in. And I've been training with these guys ever since then. And it was probably about a year and a half to 2 years later is when I actually got the position as a K2. And for those of you who don't know what a K2 is, it's pretty much the K-9 assistant. Everything that they do, you're doing with them. You're learning exactly how they operate, how they run and make stops and stuff like that. The networks that they have is pretty insane. And then after that, come last September, they gave me my position for the explosive K-9 spot. And I've been a K-9 handler since January officially. So
How long is that training?
for me, it was 15 weeks for explosives because we have a certain amount of explosives our dogs have to be trained on. Unlike narcotics. So
Yeah, narcotics is typically 3 months or 12 weeks.
yeah.
That's a lot of additional training. So
Yeah.
what they're saying is that that's additional training after the actual academy itself. So you're going to go through an actual 8.1 week academy or 8.1 month academy, 8 months, or correction, 7-month academy, 7.1 month academy. And in addition to that, after you actually graduate, you'll do field training with a series of 3 field training officers over the course of 3 to 4 months. At the end of the first year of the job, that's going to be off of your probationary period. And it'll take a full additional year, so 2 years removed from the academy, to be eligible for any advanced positions to show during those 2 years you can take on that responsibility of learning the job in the academy, applying those skills in the field, and then being ready for additional opportunities or advancements or responsibilities such as a K-9. It's not the typical 9-to-5 job that you've seen or had in the past. Being a K-9 handler is a lifestyle, 100% lifestyle.
It is.
It's a full commitment, and I'd be willing to say it's one of the more difficult jobs in all of law enforcement, not just in the CHP. And we have 2 of those guys right here, right now. Can you talk about the ways that your life has changed as a K-9 handler compared to being a field officer, how much commitment it takes at home on your personal time as well compared to just, doing your 9-to-5 job, clocking out and going home?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So it's a lifestyle. I think when you guys touched on it, it's a lifestyle. It's not only that, you got to play with dogs and, you're looking for bad guys all day long, but it goes even a little bit further because it's a PR job. It is also a networking job as well as a doggy daycare.
It is.
But it's also constant training. So you're immersed in this lifestyle pretty much 24/7. So if the dog barks in the middle of the night, you got to get up and handle it. If you get a phone call from a task force or somebody from your own agency that just requests your help, you gotta answer it. So I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people. I love the PR aspect of it. I go to schools. So this is a little different for me, talking in front of a camera, where usually I go to a elementary school and talk to
5th graders.
Yeah, kindergartners, 5th graders.
Whoa.
So
for me, it was a big life change. Not too big. I'm kind of used to the dog aspect, but I never had my work dog come live with me. And it's not like it's a house dog either. So for me, I'm not letting my dog inside. I'm not letting my family go out and play with him and pet him. And it's a working dog. There's a lot of training that we do on and off work. So it's like you said, it's a 24-hour lifestyle, and you're always cleaning the kennels. I mean, if you have a clean dog, good for you. But a lot of these dogs are pretty dirty. So you got to maintain cleanliness. Your cars are always getting hair everywhere. Unfortunately, for a lot of handlers, their ears are going out because all the barking that's going on in the car. So it's just not the normal style CHP life that you can say. We're always on call pretty much. It was just last night we got called for a stop. So it's just always there. And you always got to be ready to go. So I always have a uniform ready to go at any moment, weekends, weekdays, it doesn't matter. So it's a lifestyle.
Do you love it?
But I love it. And that's the thing. I love the fact that I'm on this I'm with these guys because we're all like-minded and we're all one team, one fight, right? So.
Awesome. Officer Gray, Officer Garcia, what are some things that prepared you for the CHP Academy and some things that you wish you'd have known before you went in the CHP Academy?
So back before internet was even created. No, I'm just kidding.
So back your AOL account, right?
Yeah. Back when it was just dial-up.
Chatting on AIM.
So we didn't have conferences like this, Zoom, and I'm like watching you guys actually interact like right now, and I wish that I had something like this.
Yeah.
Because I had to get my information from the internet, and it was on like CHP forums. I think Police One.
What are those websites?
Yeah.
Yeah, just so they
CHPforums.com, which I don't even, is it even around?
I think they still have their blanks.
Okay.
Maybe it's a Facebook page now.
Yeah, it's all Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. And then, but the recruiters, I actually sought out recruiters, which was beneficial because I still went to, they had seminars, but things weren't explained. Like I didn't do certain things. I didn't know how to polish my boots. I didn't know how to march. So when I got to the academy, everything was foreign. Granted, I had a military father, but that just prepped me to have manners, really. But yeah, I think that I could have benefited from something that, like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm going to completely agree. The recruitment process that I see nowadays is awesome because that's what helped me, was my recruiter. I didn't know what to expect. I don't have anybody related in law enforcement, military. I'm the only cop military guy on both sides of my family. So I kind of had to learn myself, but at the same time, I was learning from my recruiters. I didn't know what to expect from the academy, and they pretty much guided me the entire way. So if it wasn't for them, I mean, I could have been lost. I don't know. Who knows what would have happened, so.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other question?
Very good. And let's see, what prepared you and then what you wish you knew, maybe
In the academy?
something you can think of.
Before.
Oh,
prior to
before the
going
academy.
in. Right.
Seemed like you did a great job prepping yourself as well, just knowledge-wise.
Yeah.
Online researching.
I think that's the best thing is just prepping yourself and self-teaching, obviously your codes and how to shine boots and just so things that won't make you shine or in the spotlight in the academy. Since I'm the most new here from the academy.
In a negative way. There's a positive spotlight.
Yeah.
And there's the one you don't want on you too. So
you don't want the negative spotlight.
So one thing another officer told me before going, and it was actually, I think it was the recruiter, because we had a seminar, and he had mentioned that you need to create a mindset that you're going to go to the academy and you're going to be a police officer. It's not to say that to be a goody two-shoes, but it's to start living that lifestyle of like, hey, you know what? I need to do the right thing, and that I need to study, and I need to not immerse yourself into the whole lifestyle of being a law enforcement officer. You got to go about being, your own person, but just get the mindset like, hey, this is what I want to do, and it's going to be for the rest of my life. So I might as well go that direction, and put everything into it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think if I can just add one more thing, take care of your family before you go to the academy. That's the biggest thing for me, at least. I actually lost a relationship in the academy, and it was rough. I don't wish that upon anybody. So take care of your family before going to the academy. Make sure all your T's and I's are dotted and crossed. So that's a big, pretty much most important thing I can advise. So
yeah, and for more details on the academy itself, it's very similar but different than the military basic training. All right, the basic training is about 3 months, and it's Monday through Sunday. You're there, you're living there, you're not leaving, and that's your lifestyle. Very similar to that is our academy. It's a paramilitary organization you're joining, right? So It's longer, all right, twice as long as that, but you will not be there on the weekends either. So it's a bit of a trade-off, all right? Longer academy, but you have Monday through Friday training. Weekend, Saturday, Sunday are yours. Wednesday evening, you have a liberty, basically just time away, as long as you're signed in by midnight that night. But your weekend and your Wednesday night free time liberty can be taken away if you're not pulling your weight. If you're not graduating.
If you pass the spelling test.
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly. But if you're not showing proficiency in certain things, you'll be removed from the program and removed from the department, and that's inspired for not showing you have the knowledge. You're committing yourself to that, the ability to grasp concepts and apply them, and the demeanor to maintain yourself as an officer for this department. So, like they said, start treating yourself serious. All right, make sure you're aware of those around you, who you're spending time with, and a big thing that I like to really help our new applicants focus on the most is that you have to realize that the day that you told your friends and your family that you want to become a police officer, not even just a CHP officer, although I'd like to think we are, we have our special presence about ourselves. The day you told them you want to be a police officer, they started looking at you differently, day one, right away. They have every right to, because they now see you as the person who is going to set the example. That's what your job is now. That's what your lifestyle is like. Your neighbors will look at you as the person that should be setting an example, just like your friends, your family, your niece, your nephew, your kids eventually, even your mom and dad, all right? They're gonna expect more from you, and they should. They have every right to, just like the public does. So that's the kind of mindset you have to have going into this career, is that we're getting paid pretty dang well. Starting salary about $88,000 right out of the academy, to be that person in the community, all right? And luckily for us, we have great officers that we work with. Officer Ed Garcia here, Officer John Gray, great individuals here. They spend a lot of time with children, setting the example, all right? Talking to at schools and community events, and the way that they look at you guys, you could tell that what you say matters, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this is a great career, and like I said, I encourage you guys to tune in this weekend to learn more about exactly what we do on a day-to-day, and get all your questions out there about the hiring process. We have a few minutes now. We'd love to take some questions from you guys regarding anything you want to know about how they got to where they're at, their experiences. You can ask Officer Scholes and I questions if you like, but we'll be here, throughout the hiring process. You're going to see us all the time, all right? Feel free to fire away if you have questions for us. But if you have specific questions about the K-9 unit, the direction there, how to get into it, then fire away. We love it. All right. All we ask is if you don't have a question, keep your phone on mute. If you do, take it off, ask away. We'll get right to you.
Sir, I did have a quick question for the K-9 officers. What kind of impact has being
And
a
just
K-9
remember one
officer
more
had
thing,
on your
please
family?
use the proper format. If you do not, you'll be called out. I can assure you.
Yes, we will.
Do they have a mic?
Yeah, just their devices.
Oh no, can we hear?
Does it look like
Okay.
anyone's popping up on there?
Not everybody at once.
Sir, Applicant Benson, I did have a question for the K-9 officer.
Excuse me.
What kind of impact has being a K-9 officer had on
Once you guys get some courage to ask questions, we'll jump into one more thing here. So just one thing that, I tend to get asked a lot when I'm interacting with people that are not working in law enforcement, friends, family, barbecues, etc., is just, a good story, a funny story, or something that stood out to me in my career. Do you guys have anything to this point that just seemed like it stood out as whether it's an academy story, just back when you're getting beat down every day, or even in the field and training?
Yeah.
Snickers.
A lot you can't talk about, just because
There's a lot of stories we can't talk about.
for some of the criminal element there that we investigate those cases, but we always have a few stories here.
Well, you guys have mentioned it already that you're going to create friendships and bonds that are a lifetime, basically.
Yeah.
My best friend right now, he was my graveyard partner. We were in the academy together, and he's still my best friend. Although we're different offices, we still talk all the time. But as graveyard partners, when you get on the graveyard shift, you're going to see so many different things. The wildest things, the craziest things, whatever you can think of, you're probably going to see it. But it's pretty cool that the impact that you have on your community is going to always follow you from within your career. So a funny, not funny, but an actual serious story that I like to share while we're at barbecues and family ask is me and my graveyard partner. We were actually not partners. It was actually graveyards after graveyards, but we're beat partners. So we get a call of this jumper, which is somebody that's potentially might wanting to end his own life off the freeway. So basically, me and my partner, we rolled up there, and next, do we have a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So next thing you know, I get there. I'm like, holy smokes, this is legit. This guy's really trying to jump off the freeway. Well, me and my partner, we worked together so well that he was able to pretty much gain his attention on him while I circle back around to try to grab him off the freeway. So basically, long story short, I was able to take that man off from taking his own life, and me and my graveyard partner have that story to share now till the end of time. So like I said, the impact that you have in your community is going to last for a long time, and it's going to be shared with your friends forever. So I think that's pretty cool about this department, or being a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, it's a great example of an experience working with a partner and making a difference in someone's life, and not just his life, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, his whole family's life. You know.
Yeah.
You saved a life, and hopefully, you know, they can get it turned around. Get things.
All right, you guys want to try your question once again?
Sir, applicant Benson, can you hear me?
Go right ahead.
Applicant Benson, can you hear me?
I can
I
hear
just
you.
Uh,
had a quick question for the K-9 officers. What kind of impact has being a K-9 officer had on your family, either your wife or kids, regarding always being on call and that extra responsibility?
Yeah, so applicant Benson was asking, thank you for tuning in, applicant Benson. They're asking what kind of effect has this job, being a K-9 officer, had on your family, your wife, your kids? You know, what's their interpretation of just the lifestyle now?
And being on call all the time.
So I would say it's pretty huge impact, but I'm pretty fortunate that I have a wife that is really, really understanding. And I can almost go all the way back to the beginning of me putting in time and effort trying to become an officer, where she was, you know, I just kind of prepared her right from the get-go, like, hey, I'm going to go to this seminar, you know. And sometimes there's actually, I think she came with me one time. Family night, yeah, she came with me on that. And, you know, they talked about it, working graveyards. That's a huge impact on your family. But you work through it because it's for your family unit. As far as being a K-9 handler and affecting me, yeah, I've had a couple of times where my wife has been really, really upset with me, but at the same time, she understood. So it's more of the unknown. You know, we've been ready to go out the door. I've been dressed, you know, not necessarily for a date. I would never cancel a date. But if we're going, like, as a family to go to a restaurant or to go to a friend's house, and I had to if I had a call out, then I would have to tell my wife, like, hey, you're going to have to go on your own. Mm-hmm. I'll catch up later. And so communication is the key. Yeah. As long as they know what's going to happen, and say if I go out on call or on a call, then I'll always call her an update, like, hey, it's going to be a long night, or, you know, I'll be home in 10 minutes. So, yeah.
So for me, I don't have any children, but I am married, and it's more of the fact that she already understands what my job is as a K-9 handler, but you can't take away how it affects them. It affects them. So in my case, she doesn't show a lot of, like, emotion as far as, like, I don't want you to go, or please don't go, or she's more understanding. She says, okay, cool, you got to do what you got to do. But at the end of the night, when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you got to leave the house on a call, you can tell the worries there. So it's like I said in the beginning, I'm a big family man. So I try to take care of my family first. My family's first priority. So communication is the biggest thing that you can possibly have with your family, just to kind of put them at ease. And you're going to talk to them about whatever's going on, but just make sure that they're okay when it comes down to it. You just got to let them know. Obviously, it's a dangerous job. Step one, being a cop, but as a canine handler, it gets a little more on the dangerous side because sometimes it's even more unknown or even known. So it like I said, I think it's the biggest thing is communication with your family, making sure that your wife's okay, and make sure that they're okay with it as well. So I don't know how to. I'm not a family therapist, but
yeah. This is the kind of career where it's not just you're thinking about. You're bringing your whole family into this lifestyle. The concern for you, the love for you is there. So even experiences that I've had, the job where there was a big incident that happened, a shooting or something that happened in my old office when I was in the field, and it was something that made the news on 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or 5 p.m. news. And my family knows where I work at. They know the office. They know the region that I typically am assigned to. And the first thing that they start to do when they see an incident, major incident that is dangerous for an officer, is they start calling me to ask, hey, am I okay? Was I involved? I saw something on the news. Even last night with all the things going on. I'm not sure about you guys, but I was getting phone calls from my family checking up on me and friends to check up on me to see how concerned they are for my well-being. So you have to make sure that you are thinking of not just yourself, and that's something you learn with time when you're actually in the field and on the job, but just something to start thinking about now in these conversations you're having with your family going into this career. And Officer Garcia, now that you're here, I'm glad we can touch on this. I saw a few of our participants that had their camos on.
Oh, yeah?
So, I'll just kind of throw a question out there that they may want to ask. What's some things that you feel was beneficial for you coming out, transitioning from the military into law enforcement? Some things you wish you would have known.
To tell you the truth, I think it was probably the best, close to perfect transition I could have had getting out of the military. My end date for the Marine Corps was in November, and I was in the academy in May. So it wasn't too much longer after I got out. And I was in really good shape, but I didn't expect to run as much as you do in the academy. I'm going to be quite honest. In the Marine Corps, you got to run a lot, but I didn't understand how much running I had to do in the academy. It takes a toll for 7 months on your body. And I mean, like I said, I've done a lot in the military, so my body didn't feel the same. So make sure you're maintaining your cardiovascular and your endurance, because that's going to help you on the physical side. For me, it was really hard studying. I'm not a bookworm, so I'm very hands-on. So the biggest thing is you're going to get in contact with your roommates in the academy, and the biggest thing is try to get attached with somebody that knows how to study, unless you're a good bookworm and you know how to study your own. But that was my issue, was studying. So that's what helped me out, was my fellow cadets that I was up there in the academy with. But like I said, it was a perfect transition out from the military into the CHP Academy. The regiment's there, the discipline's there, and you're going to be more accustomed to that, more than you probably think. And you're going to be called out for it, and you're probably going to be used in certain ways for people that actually do need help. So don't be shy, don't be timid. Actually help those that are with you in that academy, that are suffering with you. Sometimes it's going to feel like that in the academy, because that's how you're all going to get through it, is helping each other out. So,
Sir, Applicant Chen here.
So great time for questions from you guys. We'll take it from here, with your questions.
My question is, sir, about how long before you guys start sending out the background investigation stuff? Because I'm currently doing that right now for my clearance again, and I'm just wondering if I can knock two birds out with one stone, sir.
All right, Applicant, just repeat that question one more time. We missed the first part of it.
Say my apologies, sir. I said right now. I'm in. How long before you guys send out the paperwork for the background investigation? Because right now I'm actually doing it for my clearance. So I was trying to knock out two birds with one stone.
Okay, I'll answer that right now. So his question was, how long do we send out the paperwork for backgrounds? So when you initially apply, when you do come out for a testing, our next testing will be in the fall. Anyone that applied before April 7th, you're initially scheduled for our June testing, but we had to postpone that due to the world right now. We're on the same situation. So that everyone that did apply, you do not have to reapply. Your scheduled testing date will be allocated by us for the fall, likely in October. On the testing weekend, we'll start out with the PAT, the physical test. That first full day will be the physical aspect. Just bring your ID, water, a gallon of water, etc. Workout clothes on your feet. The second day will be the written test. We'll assign you that day, either on a Sunday or sometime during that month. And on that day, you'll be showing up with your two forms, an STD 678 and a CHP 446F. And those are the first two forms you'll start to collect and bring to us to start the process pending you passing that written test. And it all depends on you passing the written test, right? You got to pass that. So moving on from there, you move on to the background process. Your background investigator will see those two forms, the STD 678 and CHP 446. One is an official application for employment with CHP. The other one is actually the arrest and citation questionnaire with how many times you've been arrested, cited, etc. And then later on, about 4 weeks after, you find out your results of the written test, and that's when we'll start to, your background investigator will start to reach out to you if you did pass that test for paperwork and things like that. So you have time. So this is the perfect time for you guys to lock in and get your background listed out. Start writing down your character references, start writing down your living history going back 10, 12 years, all right? Your work history going back 10, 12 years. And get that stuff written out, go through it today, go through it next week, and go through it the week after that. Make sure you see it multiple times so you don't miss anything, all right? And then from there, we'll kind of give you more direction, but you will not be, you'll see us a lot. Officer Schultz and I in the background process, hiring process, we'll give you a lot more direction as we go. Main thing is don't be late in the day of the PAT. Bring that ID to check in, hydration, water, shoes on your feet to work out, and we'll give you more direction that day, okay, guys? All right, next question.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, applicant Zamron, sir.
Zamron, what do you got?
Obviously, all of you guys have been around the state and been at larger offices, smaller offices, San Diego, LA, Orange County. I know you said over the weekend during the motor run that ride-alongs are suspended, but once that resumes, do you have any recommendation as to whether we should go to a ride-along at a bigger office or a smaller office?
Yeah, so the ride-along process, first, so that everyone can kind of hear what our take on that is, it's a training tool for you guys. It's a training tool for you guys to, and let me plug this in so I can answer you guys. You guys can see as I'm talking, because I want you guys to see my face. All right, hang on 1 second.
Beautiful face.
Yeah. Hey Tony, if you want, you could after we answer your question, just pull it out and then just play it back to us. All right. So the ride-along process, it's great. It'll open your eyes quite a bit to the job, but we see it as a learning tool for you guys to be able to hopefully get better training in the academy, get more out of your training in the academy. We actually make sure that we allow you guys to go on ride-alongs with our department once you go through the background process, once we screen you. After you've been screened and we find out there's no dead bodies in the basement or in the desert, and you have nothing to hide, and you're in essence a qualified applicant for our academy, at that point, you could notify your background investigator, or they will probably contact you to ask you if you're ready if you want a ride along, and they'll contact us and we'll set that up for you. Or if you receive the thumbs up from your background investigator that you are getting through backgrounds, you're done with backgrounds, they will tell you to contact us and we will set that up for you, Zamron. So the reason of the time frame from not getting you a ride along from day one, week one is twofold. One reason is because there's so many people that apply, but so few actually get through the background process, all right? Get to that point. Coming into the initial testing weekend, say you have 1,000 people that apply for the position, we'll have 1,000 people come out for testing, for example. 60% won't get through the actual written test. 10 to 15% won't get through the physical test. So we're already paring down those numbers. So if we were to get ride-alongs to all the people that can't do the basic minimum physical fitness requirements, is that a good allocation of time for our resources for their time? Not at all, in my opinion, all right? And then even more so for someone that goes into the background process who will also want the same experience, but they don't have the background per se at this time to qualify for a ride-along or for the academy. So when we do get through backgrounds, you get through the testing, at that point, you're only a few weeks away from going to the academy. So the experience you're going to have in that ride-along with an actual seasoned veteran officer, seeing what you're going to be doing eventually, when you actually get to the academy 3-4 weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, it'll help you put 2 and 2 together about what you're being trained on and what you're actually going to be doing. It'll make sense for you, and you'll be hopefully getting more out of your training, doing better in the academy. So that's kind of why we have you qualify first in the background process for safety for our officers. So we're not putting our officers in the field in a controlled car with weapons, with other things, with someone that we don't know anything about. And also for your benefit too, so you're not wasting your time and you're getting more out of your training later on. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Applicant Alvarado. I had a quick question. If I had a mentor, an officer.
You can go ahead and repeat that question one more time.
I said I had a quick question. Let's say I have an officer that's a mentor. After, let's say, God willing, I pass the academy, I go through all the training, I go through everything. Will I be sent to their office, or like, is it possible to be sent to their office, or is just not controlled?
So if I can hear you correctly, you're asking, so if you have a mentor in the hiring process, and right along with that mentor, say it's your neighbor, say it's your brother or your sister or someone, they have a right to basically get the approval through their office to take you out. That is not going through us for the ride-along experience. That's totally separate. And if I can hear you correctly in the last part of your question, you want to go eventually maybe work with that person you know in the department when you graduate. So the way the assignments work upon graduation is that it's all based off of the needs of the CHP, where we need you at, where we have openings. And every month of the year, we have officers that begin to retire from different area offices. We have about 100 offices in California, and each office has a staffing of between 20 to sometimes 100 plus officers at each office. So when you are assigned to an office, you're going to have officers that retire. They decide to call it quits. They put in 25, 30 good years. They hang up their gun belt, carrying off in the sunset. Good luck to them. Now that retirement creates a vacancy at that office, or maybe multiple vacancies depending on how many officers retire. And then several times a year, you have officers have a chance, an opportunity to transfer from one office to another. So officers leaving that office, creating more vacancies, gives more openings to people that want to transfer in to that office. After the transfers and retirements, there could be 1, 2, 5, 7, 10 openings remaining at a specific office. Whatever is left over is actually advertised to the graduating class from the academy about a month out from graduating. And that's where you're going to list top to bottom what office you want to put as your priority you want to go to. And it could be that office that your friend, your coworker, your brother or sister works at has openings, or they could not when you get ready to graduate. Between now and the time you applied and testing, and which is not till October, the hiring process is another 8 to 14 months from then to go through into your backgrounds, your medical screening, your psychological screening, and then wait for an academy start date. And then another 7 months of training from that point to graduate. So what we know now, a year and a half from now, is we can't say for right now what would happen, what's going to be open, what's going to be available, but that's how it would go. All right.
Thank you.
All right. We got time for about 2 more questions. About 2 more. Got about 5 more minutes, and we're gonna cut it for the night. What do we got?
Sir, applicant Dialba, I had a question, if I may.
Go right ahead, Val.
Sir, my question was, so I am in the process of exiting active duty military, and I was considering doing the reserves, and I'm asking if there's anyone that has experience with maybe coworkers doing the reserves while serving in CHP.
Absolutely. I know quite a few reserves that are current active CHP officers. The recruiter that I replaced is actually a reservist for the Marine Corps, Officer Butler. We were just talking about him a little while ago. Tall, handsome fellow, all right? Motivated, still current Marine.
Yep.
So for us, yes, we being a reservist is still an option for you if you decide to do so. You know, it's just another thing you can do on your personal days off. Most of our officers are on 2 different types of schedules. I'd say 3, be specific. Either the 5 8-hour days, like a normal banking hours, which is what most administrative positions have, a 980 schedule, basically meaning you work a 9-hour day, and every other weekend is a 3-day weekend, and the opposing weekends are 5-day work weeks, 2 days off a week. And then the last schedule is a 410, which is what most of our field officers are on right now in the state, 4 10-hour days a week. You're off 3 days a week every week. So every week is a 3-day weekend. And on those weekends, it's your time off to do what you want, go travel, explore, spend time with your family, do your reserve training. It's kind of at your leisure. But when you're actually in the academy, we have you during that time frame. So some individuals that are current reservists, they have to front load or back load their training to accommodate that basically half a year that they are blacked out, that they're with us in our academy. And that's something you would have to work out with your command, with whatever branch you're going to be doing your reserve time with. But they tend to have a lot of experience with individuals that are doing that in law enforcement, firefighting, other jobs. But I have not seen that be an issue for any command that giving that time to their staff, their member, to train before, a little more in advance and after, before they graduate or after they graduate.
Thank you, sir.
All great questions so far, guys, so ask away.
Sir, Applicant Silva, I had a quick question if I may. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to be sure. Upon our success after the academy, are we scheduled to shift right after the academy, or do we have to become a, not a bachelor, but for 12 months? I just wanted to verify that. A probationary officer.
So upon completion of the academy, who or how does your schedule come about? So do you get admin, or how does it work to get a schedule?
Yeah, so once you're an officer at the academy, the appointments, it's great you guys are tuning in right now, because every day between now and the time you come out and test with us and you go through our hiring process, our training program, and before you even get to the academy, it's time for you to prepare to beat out your peers. And your peers are on the same Zoom chat you are right now. They're listening in. They're applying the same time you are. With us on this call, and also other parts of the state and California as well, right? Since we're hiring from all over the place. When you get ready to get your badge number, when you graduate, your badge number is assigned to you based off of your performance in the academy and certain training regimens, such as your range, your PT, physical training, something you can totally control, your academics as well. And I believe it's also the enforcement tactics is what they grade on also. So all things that if you go through our program and you're taking yourself serious, you can begin to kind of get a leg up on your actual peers to get a better badge number upon graduation. And that's also how your assignments are taken as well. So the better your badge number is, the better your chances are, the better your placement is, and choosing where you want to go when you graduate. All right. Now, when you're assigned to your initial area office, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be doing your field training officer, initial FTO phase. And during that phase, you're going to be on the same schedule as whatever your your FTO is. So if they have a nice cushy weekend off schedule for the first month with that officer, you're going to be on their schedule having weekends off. I think that was maybe 3 weeks on the job, maybe 4 weeks, and we had New Year's come around, and my FTO was off on New Year's Eve, so I was off on New Year's Eve, even though I had the mindset that I'm going to be working every holiday the first couple of years in the job. So I got lucky there. But that's kind of how it's going to go. Your schedule is going to mimic the schedule of the person training you. Sometimes different officers decide to put you into an admin position or an administrative kind of schedule after you complete your FTO phase. But it varies office to office. In general, you're going to be a police officer, have a great uniform, great career, great salary. But your initial schedule will be based off of your FTO schedule, and after that, it'll be based on seniority. The newest person, the rookie, has the best schedule in the office, right?
Yep. You learn the most.
Yeah. That's not true. Right? That was a joke for those of you that love dance.
Tuesdays and Thursdays off.
Yep.
Expect that.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, with court on both those days.
Yeah. So overall, guys, we're going to conclude tonight. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. It was a great batch of questions at the last half there. I really enjoyed this. If you feel like you want to give us some feedback, email us, contact us, reply to the email that we invited you out with, that you received, notifying you of today's seminar, and let us know anything we can do to improve. And if you have further questions for myself or Officer Garcia, Officer Gray, contact us and we'll get you in touch and can I try and get an answer for you as well. All right. But for us, be signing off here, pass it off to my partner here to give you a last couple of words of encouragement. I'm sure he's going to tell you to listen to everything Officer Rosemont says, but that's
Absolutely.
That's a given.
Yeah, just remember with this whole COVID situation, we know it's uncertain times, right? Uncharted waters. Just try and make good decisions. Like we talked about earlier, we're held to a higher standard. Right when you applied for this job and your family and friends and neighbors found out you were going to be potentially a CHP officer, they're automatically placing you in that category of being held to a higher standard. So just make sure you're putting your best foot forward and keeping up on your training, your PT, staying sharp and making the best decisions, and the career is worth it. I guarantee you that. So with that, we'll let you go. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, bro.